watch the tube, but nothing's on.
Rob Cavallo helped orchestrate Longview's evolution from fuzzy demo to radio-ready anthem. He believed American kids would relate to the song's restless message, and his covert calls to radio helped assure they'd have that chance.
I would call K-Rock, like, 2 or 3 times a night. During that crucial, month or two when the record was just on the verge, I'd call up and I'd say, man, I heard this song, it was just great, And I'd make up some name.
Look at his mouth.
Yeah. It's all encrustulated with globules of feces.
See what I mean, Beavis?
Music television smeared Dookie across its airwaves. The Longview clip, shot entirely inside the band's unkempt Berkeley crash pad, epitomized an era where high style meant being yourself.
I'm feeling like a dog in heat, barred indoors from the summer street.
It's like, all right, just go nuts like you do on stage. That was easy enough to do. And then looking back going, boy, do we have a lot of zits.
Just show our pad, show the band, show all our zits. That tiny little bathroom you see in there and that sink dripping, that's our sink. That's our one pan that we had with the butter.
Usually the people you see on MTV are all like really tall and skinny and beautiful, but then Green Day was on MTV and they're short and funny looking. I mean, they're cute, totally, but they're not like the normal cute person.
When masturbation's lost its fun.
And I always kind of laugh when I think about it because it was on MTV, it was huge on the radio, like mothers were letting their kids buy this song, and I think a lot of people didn't know what it was about back then.
Dookie mania spread a punk rock virus of insurgency. Legions of youngsters rushed record shop counters to buy their own chunk of defiance.
What I think it is just not really giving a, just kind of letting go and just being yourself and kind of going against the grain.
With Green Day running point, the cult of punk went platinum in 1994. Gilman Street alums Rancid and New Schoolers The Offspring suddenly sold millions. Hardcore veterans like Bad Religion racked up previously unthinkable sales.
Dookie was an absolute explosion of popularity for everything associated with punk rock. My own group had a gold record that year. We'd never gotten close to gold. It carried everything with it.
Punk's flippant fashion sense and contrary ideals redefined teenage cool. Giving the finger was the new hello. Rebellion was the new resignation. Green hair dye flew off shelves, and mall dwellers got mohawks.
I love Welcome to Paradise. It's my favorite. We're naming our prom theme after it, too. I'm like, yeah.
I remember when you could buy, like, the glitter shirt at the mall that said punk rock. It had, like, a glitter safety pin. I was like, I think this is over now.
Hardcore punks were outruled. Longview was an undeniable smash. And the second single, Basket Case, was barreling upwards right behind it. Dookie was doing the impossible.
I said, you guys, you've done it. You've made it. Like, this album's going platinum for sure. I can feel it. I know it. The people at Warner Brothers are saying it, and they were very cool about it. They were sort of like, oh yeah, that's really good.
Dookie was speeding rebel rock into the status quo, and Green Day were taking the Outcasts along for the ride. For their first national headlining tour in July of '94, the band asked along an opener to reflect their continued solidarity with the counterculture. San Francisco's Pansy division played overtly homosexual pop songs.
There were a few songs that would really get people going one way or the other.
Close inspection of Dookie reveals Green Day's chosen opener made perfect sense. Their song, Coming Clean, is a punk rock invitation out of the closet, delivered with deepest empathy for those fearing rejection.
Sexuality is something definitely I've questioned before in my life. I think most men have, but most men wouldn't admit to that.
America was fine with Green Day coming clean, but pansy songs extolling the ecstasy of gay sex were sometimes more than the heartland could handle.
There was a show in Fairfax, Virginia, where the promoter did not want us on the bill. So Green Day said, if Pansy Division don't play, we don't play. We played the show. And the promoter came back and gave me a 15-minute lecture about how he thought our songs were inappropriate for 12-year-old kids.
Homosexuality is one of the last great frontiers where you can really, really get people going and really piss people off. So that could have been part of it. Also, maybe they were just trying to give a message that it's no big deal to be gay. I was alone.
I think that at the time, the impact may not have been real obvious, but certainly since 1994, the impact has been huge. It's one of several things that have happened in the last decade that have made homosexuality incredibly more welcomed in America.
By the summer of '94, Green Day's Longview and Basket Case had both gone #1. In August, as Dookie's sales passed the million marker, Green Day dropped by the revived Woodstock Festival to galvanize Generation X in a hail of pop, punk, and mud.
Woodstock was insane. Just looking out and seeing like just the massive amounts of people.
It's like, wow, we look like deer in headlights up there. Oh, don't hurt us.
And that's when things for me was like, wow, this is huge, you know, and this is not going to stop.
Woodstock and the third #1 single, When I Come Around, propelled Dookie from punk phenomenon to timeless rock institution. By the end of 1994, 3 million people and counting owned and lived Dookie. In 1994, Green Day delivered Dookie and gave the gift of rebellion to the United States of apathy.
It's like kind of disconnecting yourself from society and just saying, you know, pretty much like, you, I'm not part of your organization or your society, I'm my own self.
The album lodged yearning, jealousy, and an awkward self-image in snatches of timeless pop with a potty mouth.
Welcome to paradise.
You know, there are only a few things in this world, The Simpsons comes to mind, that can appeal both to the high art world and the low art world. And Green Day were one of those things.
I'll sit around and watch the tube, but nothing's on.
It blurred otherwise strict teenage orders. Geeks, jocks, and rejects united in sweaty mosh pits to slam away their growing pains.
For me, growing up in high school, that's kind of like there's a lot of questions in your life and you're looking for somebody that's feeling that same way. Maybe not necessarily for the answers, but for somebody just to relate to and feel like, you know, okay, I feel the same way.
A lot of people are like, you saved my life, you know, you saved, you know, me from depression, you gave me hope, you know, all these things. I mean, it sounds cheesy to sit there and say it, but it's true.
Dookie's mega platinum payoff made for a Green Day indeed. The 3 formerly homeless punk rockers made an uneasy transition to the top tax bracket.
Well, I didn't run out and buy a Ferrari or anything, you know. I didn't like making money at first. Now I don't mind. It's okay.
It's a little overwhelming, you know, to think about buying a house instead of thinking about having to find a $100 room to rent. Basically, I just don't let anybody see my swimming pool filled with diamonds and gold.
Even the stuffy recording academy could not deny Dookie's colossal impact. They stopped short of giving Grammy a mohawk, but in 1995, they did give Green Day their coveted statue for Best Alternative Performance.
At the time, it didn't really hold a lot of importance to me. I didn't really care. It's hanging up in my mom's house. I gave it to her, and she shows it off to all of her friends, and, you know.
I didn't really think of it as really a big deal. I think I wanted to make a bong out of it when I first got it.
Green Day would not forget Lookout Records. The band structured their deal with Warner Brothers to assure that Berkeley Indie would retain ownership of the first 2 albums, both of which sold boatloads in Dookie's wake.
You know, that was really a very considerate thing to do, and it really honored the spirit of the relationship that we'd had with them.
Dookie would go on to sell over 10 million copies and remains a radio mainstay to this day. More importantly, it entered that rare order of albums that drives a generation into the garage to wail their angst away.
We're in like a little teeny half of a 1-car garage with a crappy old amp, you know, and that's what it was to us, you know. That's what the excitement about, you know, starting a band when you're a kid was, just like, because you did it for the fun of it.
That's why we started a band in the first place, because we were just bored and there was nothing to do after school, and we didn't really have many friends, and so we just would, like, you know, walk home and go to the garage and practice and stuff.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine?
Bigger than the insular punk community or any cultural impact, Dookie stands today as a pop-punk marvel, a model of addictive excellence for future teenagers to cherish.
The best pop music is the kind of stuff that you grow up listening to and remembering always, whether it's the Beatles or Elvis Costello or, you know, a record like Dookie. It's those songs that last a lifetime and stick with you.